Hey everybody, welcome to episode 140 of Formidable Opponents, a show that pits three people who have known each other virtually their entire lives in a series of conversations as we argue what is best in a variety of fun, engaging, and critical pop culture topics we all debate about. I'm Randall, and with me as always, Bob and Joseph, and this week's topic is most annoying TV show character. Bob, Joseph, how are you guys doing? It's good to see you guys again.
Man, sounds so sexy. Jesus Christ. Folks, he's not trying to do that. It's coming all natural from the throat.
Yeah, Rand is doing his best today. So if you don't, do you want to just tell him real quick?
Yeah, I can tell him. I'm doing a Kathleen.
He swallowed a balloon.
I'm doing a Kathleen Turner impression for this show. No, I think. Okay,
the Jewel of the Nile was amazing.
You could hear it in my voice. I've had pneumonia for the past 5 weeks, and it's been one of the worst months of my life because my voice has been gone. I've had to cough up a lung, essentially, headaches, body aches. So yeah, I've been battling pneumonia. This is the best I've sounded in about a month. So, I think I'm being punished for making fun of Kim Carnes a few episodes ago. But, Bob and Joseph, yes, I was very ill, but you will be proud to know that I didn't ask for the prayer warriors to come through on Facebook or post that I was on my deathbed. I know we just celebrated Easter, but I didn't want the prayer hands emoji. Because to me, that's lazy, right? That's not prayer. That's a gesture. That's emotional charades.
Just so you know, the prayer hands are actually a high five, people. It's a common misconception. Look it up, people.
The other two that are with their thumbs together, that's just saying you can catch these hands if you don't watch what you're saying to me.
But you can't emoji your way into heaven is what I'm trying to say. You just hit two little hands and you're a prayer warrior now. Come on. I get it. Maybe pneumonia is just prayer hands and it's not a full prayer situation like turf toe, but still, would they really have prayed? Look, I'm just saying that there's a high probability of exaggeration in the prayer warrior community. I don't want cartoon hands. I want someone coming through with the Espiritu Santo. And you know what I'm talking about, right? Both of you guys have been sending me your well wishes and your heart.
The huevo and cross over your head.
So we know I almost died. What have you guys been up to?
They're about the same. Oh man, it's been same old stuff. We've been trying to put this episode out for a while, folks. Shit happens. Yeah. People got sick. People make excuses. Obviously.
Yes.
It does, and if it really came first, we wouldn't even be doing this, but we'd be out running, marathons and shit. But yeah,
and we're actually really happy to, it's cool to be back to you guys. Yes. It's been a while, and we tried to come back. We decided we were going to come back. We did, and then it's just, freak, incident happens. Unfortunately, with Rand. Thankfully, he's good, or appears to be good, getting better every day, and here we are. But hey, life's different. We try to do this when we can, and we'll try to get to you all as often as possible.
Absolutely. And
because we know you like us.
Joseph works for HR, obviously.
The kids are loving the fact that I can't shout at them. So they're enjoying wrecking the house. And maybe I'll sing Betty Davis eyes before this is all said and done. I think I could hit
you want to lose more audience members. I get it, Randall.
But on with our topic, guys. Yeah. We're talking about most annoying TV show characters. These are villains. They're the ones that put out the horrible vibes. Some characters are
not always villains.
Not always villains. You're right. They're villains, and then there are vibes, right?
In my eyes, they're all villains.
Some characters are written to destroy cities. Others are written to destroy your patience. So today isn't about evil masterminds. This is about the character who makes you pause the episode and say, "Why are we doing this?" The one who shows up and suddenly your blood pressure makes a guest appearance, right? What are your thoughts on this topic, guys?
You're talking about Debbie Does Dallas, or? Oh, sorry. No, I think this is a great topic. I think we've thrown around a couple of ideas over the past few months, and this is one we were kind of excited to talk about. They don't have to be necessarily annoying, but they could be unforgivable, or they could be just like the pain in the ass, or the one that you're like, man, if they could just leave the fucking scene, it'd be really great. There's a lot of great TV shows that we're going to probably talk about today, and there's always a character on there where like, man, we could really do without that fucker. So I'm kind of excited to see where y'all, what y'all have in mind when it comes to this most annoying or difficult kind of character.
it's like you said, Ran, like why, like you might question yourself, like, why am I watching this show? Especially if they're a main character in this situation.
Good point.
There's plenty of individuals, characters that are like, not necessarily the main character, but a good enough side character. And you can literally say, this show could do without him. Like, to be honest with you, I don't know what they're here to do other than just be annoying or to be a villain or like I said, they're not always villains. It's just, they could be like the most important person to the main character, but they're just so fucking annoying. And you feel like the show can do without it. Like the show will still succeed. And there's a lot of characters like that, surprisingly, in the research to this.
I wrote down a little television theory here, guys, and let's see if you agree with me. There are 3 primary annoyance archetypes as I try to catch my breath. Okay, you have
Jesus Christ.
You have the entropy engine, which this is the character whose sole narrative function is to destabilize competence. They do not grow. This person does not learn. They simply introduce chaos into otherwise solvable situations, and they really don't do anything for the audience. Then you have the moral fog machine. This character is not evil, as you mentioned, Joseph. They're not wrong. They're just exhausting. They pause the action, they weaponize sincerity, and they treat every inconvenience into a teachable moment. And then lastly, you have the screen time inflation problem. This is the most dangerous category. Like the character, he comes in or she comes in, 8% screen time. Hey, we could tolerate him, right? But at 22%, we begin to see the cracks, the structural cracks. The quirks become habits, habits become identity, and identity becomes unbearable repetition. So what are your thoughts on some, or do you guys have other examples of like why these certain archetypes on television that produce annoying characters?
No, I think you nailed it right. You nailed it right in the head, man. They kind of have to fit a certain mold. And then, what really bothers me is that in a lot of cases, you have people, when you're going to have people that are going to argue back with us, be like, oh, no, that's my favorite character. Like, well, why? I don't understand why. You know what I mean? We're going to get a lot of pushback from these characters.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's going to be the fun part of it, that we can name these people and then we're going to have people be like, oh, fuck, no, that was my favorite character. And then we can unfollow them on Facebook and Instagram and then it's all good after that.
Yeah, there's going to be, like Bob said, and Rand, like what you said, the science doesn't lie. It's all true there. And to add to Bob's point, like, I don't think this isn't so much to say that like the show wasn't good or like or I didn't enjoy watching, these shows or for honorable mentions or even the selections. Like I've looked, your 2 selections, the shows were entertaining, and I'm curious about your points for picking your characters. But yeah, I mean, like Bob said, look, people, don't take this too seriously. like this is our opinion, and 2, like you kind of got, if you're really a fan of this show, you kind of got to agree a little bit.
On to our opening questions. What makes a character truly annoying? So if you're watching a show, what are some of the, I guess you could say, personality quirks or behaviors that make you think, I'm signing off, I cannot stand this person?
It's one of those things, like, I feel like we got to mention Will Ferrell here. It's like one of those things where it's over the top. Yeah. Then you keep being over the top and there's no evolution of the character. Like, the joke is funny the first time and maybe the second time and okay the third time, but after that you're like, okay, come up with a new fucking joke. I think that's what kind of thing, like if it's annoying, like you can only hear Urkel say, did I do that so many times before you're like, okay, fucking kid, like there should be a new line, we're in season fucking 12, let's go. So I think that there has to be some kind of evolution, right?
That's a good
I love Urkel, by the way.
So yeah.
Jaleel White, funny man. Good job, boy.
Yes. Great actor, too, to be honest with you. Like, if you really go back and look at him at his actual acting credits and see some of the stuff he did outside of that, like, he's a good actor. Like, I wish that guy more successful.
Yeah, fuck yeah, dude.
But anyway.
And you got all the bitches.
Yeah, that's a great character. To me, I'm really annoyed, and I don't give characters, or I'm more likely to not give a chance to a show, or I hate, what's the term I'm looking for?
Everything arrogance about you.
Arrogance of a character. I mean, and here's the thing, and we might talk about this, we might not, but like we do understand, like, you know what, we separate the actor And you know,
yeah, this has nothing to do with the actor; it's the character.
Not at all.
And you know that for the most part, these characters were probably written to be that way, and so it's kind of out of their control. But I couldn't stand, like, I really can't stand an arrogant character. I don't, it's not, I can't think off the top of my head right now. I'd really have to go back and look at, everything that I watch, and to find whether or not there was any characters in TV shows that I watched that were just, completely arrogant, thought they were better than everybody, and usually in a situation like that, in a show where you have a character like that, yeah, you're wishing for their downfall. At least I know I am, or for them to get their comeuppance. So that's probably for me one of the biggest characteristics of why of me, like, turning away from a TV show or being like, you know what, I don't need to watch this show, or this show could do without this character.
Real annoyance usually happens when a single joke becomes the entire personality. And I think you were alluding to this, Bob, and a quirk becomes a lifestyle, or the writer's mistake memorable for infinite replay value. Like did I do that right? The catchphrases. The person I think about a lot is Sheldon Cooper. The first time he says something socially oblivious.
Don't say it too bad. Joe's going to start throwing punches.
You're a Sheldon Cooper fan? I almost called you.
I'm a fan of this show.
you're social. I'm
a fan of the show. But
it's not a Cooper.
It's a multi. There's a lot of cast members on that show, so I know he's the main. He's the main character. I'm a fan of the show. I was. Yes, I understand. I get what you're saying. You can go ahead and continue.
I mean, yeah, hilarious the first time he says it, right? After the 900th time, we're running a psychological endurance study. It's not bad acting. He's a tremendous Jim Parsons, right? He's a tremendous actor.
He is.
He's done stage and screen. He's incredible, and he's worth every penny he got from that show. It's narrative exposure, though. Annoyance is when the trait stops serving the story and it starts serving itself. And that show was on for like 12 seasons, man. I mean, incredible. It's when the character walks in a room and you go, oh, fuck, are we doing this again? That's not incompetence. That's overstaying your welcome. And to me, that's when a character gets annoying and they get stale. Next question. Is it worse when a side character is annoying or when the main character is annoying?
A little bit both.
Oh, that's a good question, man.
Well, if it's the main character, I'm obviously not watching the show.
Yeah. I agree. Usually,
right off the back, I'm not watching it.
Usually, it's the side character, and we're like, that fucking person again. Yeah, usually a side character.
I think I agree with you both. I think it's worse when it's the main character. If it's a side character, if they're annoying, that's like the neighbors. That's like just somebody coming in, like the annoying neighbor or whatever. And you could forgive that, right? Because they'll have like a quick 5-minute screen time here or whatever. But if the main character is annoying, that's structural damage because now you're trapped. And I have an example. I want to see if you guys agree with me, and I don't think you will. Ted Mosby on How I Met Your Mother.
Honorable mention.
Yeah,
that's because I like the show. That's because I love the show. I did. I did. But I gotta admit, after rewatching it X amount of times.
Well, you know what? Here's the thing about that. Yes, and I agree. He wasn't annoying at the beginning or anything like that, but he grows to be like, come on, you fucking helpless sap. You know what I mean? Go fucking find your shit, do your shit, live your life, and he keeps circling around. I guess it's character archetype, but I don't know, man. I agree with you all, but I don't think he's that annoying to be on the list.
I mean, to me, when you're
Lily, on the other hand, oh fuck that, Jesus Christ, in that show, Jesus fuck, annoying, pain in the ass, Jesus, get out of everybody's fucking. I did not like her character, the way it developed throughout the season, especially the end. Was not a fan of her. She is an honorable mention for me.
I think when your narrator is the most exhausting person in the ensemble, the show becomes a 9-season PowerPoint presentation about his feelings. A side character can be muted by editing.
Sounds like the Wonder Years.
What was the description? Like, what's the running joke? It's like what is this? The story of How I Met Your Mother, or the story of how many fucking chicks you banged when you were.
I mean, who wouldn't want that job, right? But I mean, the main character is the oxygen supply. We're breathing this shit for 22 minutes. 22 minutes of Ted complaining about all these hot chicks he hooked up with. I don't get it. I mean, that's just me, man.
You wouldn't.
Can a character? Next question: can a character be intentionally annoying and still be great television?
Oh, for sure. Okay. I agree 100%. I don't know about it necessarily annoying, but like taking King Joffrey from like Game of Thrones.
Okay, good point. Yeah.
He was intentionally supposed to be like get on your fucking nerves, and you're like, I can't wait till this fucker eats it and dies, and like he played that character so fucking perfectly, and at a certain point you're annoyed, but you're also like, he's brilliant, like he's doing his fucking job. You know what I mean? So I think there's a difference between somebody who's like intentionally trying to do it as a character and somebody who's just doing it because they want laughs, and then it's just, at a certain point they're like bad writing or just bad acting.
I don't know.
Joseph got a cramp. That's the sound.
Well, I have an example. Joseph, why you think,
go ahead.
You know, I think it requires precision. I think
Heart surgery.
Yeah, intentional annoyance works when it's self-aware, it has limits, and it creates tension that serves a story. And here's my example. Michael Scott, he's annoying, but the show knows he's annoying. The camera knows he's annoying.
Mm-hmm.
The other characters react appropriately. The annoyance becomes empathy. And you contrast that with characters who are annoying, but the show's insist that they're charming. That's where friction turns into resentment.
It's great. Yeah. It's also great writing.
Yeah, no, great writing. And the difference is whether the show is in on the joke. If the audience feels gaslit about how lovable somebody's supposed to be, then we have a problem.
Okay.
Joseph, all sound effects.
Joseph's very indifferent right now, folks.
So speaking of,
I'm just curious, like with some of these things you say. So like when I get to my character, I mean, I know there's going to be things that are going to be said, but curious to hear what y'all are going to say about my character.
Let's go on to our honorable mentions. Bob, what do you got for us?
I have a couple. And fortunately, 3 are from The Office. I'm just kidding. Andy Bernard, who I thought was, I think he's just a little too much. And I don't like how his character arc at all. Will Ferrell's character in The Office as well. I mean, Jesus Christ! Like,
yeah, but
even Randy Daytona, which I liked better than Will Ferrell's. I'm like, what the fuck is like? I didn't understand it.
Yeah.
Huh?
Robert California.
Yeah, Robert California. There we go. Yeah, whatever.
I want to watch Balls of Fury.
Balls of Fury. That's what it was from. Yeah, dude. So I'm just not a big fan. I did have Sheldon mentioned in mine as well, but a buddy I was drinking with earlier was like, it's Alf. I was like, Alf? Fucking Alf. Annoying little asshole space alien with a mole who tried to eat the family's cat. And I was like, what does this fucking mole have to do with anything? But I thought that was the funniest part of the conversation tonight. But I guess Alf, I don't know. I don't see that. I don't see that how that's annoying. But I told him I'd mention it on the show. But yeah, those 3 seem to like really connect with me. And I have one more, but I'm going to mention later on with one of y'all's picks. What do you got, Joseph?
Ted Mosby. And I love this show. I did. I've rewatched it numerous times, and as I rewatch it now, like we said, like Bob was saying earlier, like, dude, like, get out of your own way. Stop acting it's gotten to that point now. Like I see, like, Jesus Christ, bro, like, what the is wrong with you? Just keep like get out, like I said, get out of your own fucking head. But anyway, the other one was, and I know this one, it's not going to be controversial. I don't think so. Now, when I rewatch Saved by the Bell, the show couldn't do without Screech.
Really?
And I know the character was written.
The
character was written to be this, but it was at certain. And I know it was a kids' TV show, right? Or like a.
Because Joe's hung out with the popular kids in high school. I'm just kidding.
But there is, and I know the character of Screech has his moments where there's like clarity, like real clarity and an understanding of situations where he's not having that doofus voice. The geek, like, where he actually speaks like a normal person, but he's there. Why is he on the show, right? He's there because they need the demographic, right? They can't just all be popular, the jock, the
cool guy,
the heartthrob, cool guy.
You sound like the Breakfast Club.
The fashion, they got to have the geeks, right? So the geek is represented in that, but at a certain point, I mean, it does get annoying, and there's no growth. They go into the college years. He's the same. Well, he's a little older, right? And he acts a little bit more mature in the college years. But I mean, anyway. So I had Mosby, Screech, and I'm gonna throw this one out there too because I remember this kid. And
can I talk about Screech real quick?
Sure.
He was responsible for 2 of the funniest jokes. And it was a repeat joke on the show. Every time he dressed as a woman and they asked him what his name was, he would give him a famous person's name. Like, what is your name? Sinead O'Connor?
Sinead O'Connor. Yeah.
Barbara Bush. I mean, those jokes are classic, man.
Like I said, he had his moments. I understand that, but like, you know, I question now, like, why was he even on the show? But of course, like I said, I think they just gotta have they're covering every base of high school. And then the third one was shout out to Joe Michael for being a little prick. No, but I didn't know it was him, right? So we got this cool feature, guys. If you can reach out to us via whatever platform we're on. I don't know. Randy can explain it later. But anyway,
we're gonna be off that platform, so maybe we skip this part.
Well, anyway, Joe Michael said 7.
Send us a text
from well, that's his name, right? 7 from Married with Children.
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck the purpose was of this character on the show. Like, he's a kid. He's like the kid that shows up. He's like, what is he, like somebody's relative? He's like their cousin, and he's
like Leonardo DiCaprio in Growing Pains. Like he's just
nothing but he's just nothing.
They have
but
enough kids.
All he does is zing anybody that talks to him.
Well, you know,
it was pointless.
That's an old TV show trope. Every time like the original kids get older, they bring in a young kid, like the parents have a baby. You saw it with Fresh Prince, Family Ties, Step by Step, Full House, when they brought in the twins. Cousin Oliver.
Twins? Oh, sorry.
Cousin Oliver on the Brady Bunch. Every time the kids grow older, they need some cute, precocious somebody to say funny lines. So they bring in a new kid. So that's an old
Scrappy Doo. Scrappy Doo. We got it.
Scrappy Doo. Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, what do you got, Ren?
I had Ted Mosby as well on How I Met Your Mother. Look, Ted isn't evil. He's just aggressively earnest. And every story is a lecture. Every date is a thesis defense. Everyone I know liked this show. I was out after half the season. I've only watched maybe about 10 episodes of this show. I wasn't a big fan. I couldn't get into it. I mean, he's just this romantic main character who believes that he's the only one experiencing feelings for the first time in human history. And I could just not buy it. And you know what? I wasn't a fan of the casting. I thought Neil Patrick Harris and Jason Segel were great. I wasn't a fan of the main character. I of the actor either. I can't remember his name, but
Josh Radnor.
Yeah, not a fan. Not a fan of his. And the hush silence.
No. I was gonna say I enjoyed the show. I thought you're right. Jason Segel and Neil Patrick Harris. I mean, they at some more times than not, they take over episodes. So you can watch the show and be entertained. It's not necessarily. I know he's the main character.
Yeah, Allison Hannigan was great too. And who played Robin?
Oh, she was not. Yeah. She was not.
No, you didn't like her. Okay, that's the one.
He didn't like the character.
All right, the character.
He didn't like the character of Lily. And then
fictional characters. I love that. And was it Jade and Silent Bob Straight Back?
That's going to be our cover. Fictional characters. But yeah, who else you got, man?
I got Andy Bernard. Andy is textbook screen time inflation case study. I think what they try to do with Andy is once Michael left is that they try to give him the main character. They gave him the ball to run with, and you know he couldn't cross the goal line.
Yeah, because of the Hangover, they're like, oh, his popularity, but it didn't work.
Exactly. I mean, where are you guys with Ed Helms as an actor? Are you guys fans of Ed Helms?
I've only ever really seen him in comedies, and
he's funny, but I mean, like, he's not like life-changing funny. I think he's funny though. I think he's real funny.
No, I was to say the Vacation reboot that they did, or kind of continuation, wasn't very
wasn't that funny?
Yeah. So, but I don't know. I haven't really seen it.
It's just so negative.
You know,
or the scene where he explains what a rim job is or whatever. That was funny. Yeah. But other than that, the movie sucked. Yeah. You know, he had a good 2009 to 2013 stretch with the Hangover movies, right? He was in The Office and you know, We're the Millers, I thought was good. When they had to take...
You guys are getting paid? Is that the meme?
When they gave him the wheel in Vacation, I just don't think he's a main character kind of guy. I think he's a great supporting actor. In small doses, he's hilarious. The Cornell jokes, funny. Acapella energy, it's manageable. Later seasons, we're just trapped in a musical we didn't audition for, right? It's just crazy. They just had him carry too much of the show, and I just didn't go for that.
Was very. I'm sorry. I just to add to he was like when he became the bot, like his character just went really annoying. The arrogance that, like, you know, he's like you said, people that like want to hear him sing. Like there's that whole episode where he's like, you know, he brings the acapella group, the current one, to like the party, and he's expecting, like, you know, oh geez, are they gonna ask me to solo? I was like, no, like, dude, like, come on. Like, so yeah, he definitely got annoying very much at the end.
I also had Sheldon Cooper. We talked about him. Yeah, iconic, yes. Influential, absolutely. Exhausting after prolonged exposure, also yes. You
And
know,
Explosion.
and exposure. When the joke,
It's
when
gonna be my new band name when we come up with one.
you know,
Explosion.
I mean, he's really a one joke character that made like $5 million per episode. So
Yeah.
the joke's on you, motherfuckers, right? Because I made 5 million per episode. Skylar White, Breaking Bad. This one's complicated. Skylar isn't wrong. She's reacting to a literal drug kingpin. So I don't know. I think a lot of people found her annoying. She might have gotten a bad rap, but wasn't a fan of Skylar White. Joffrey, I'm sorry, Baratheon, Game of Thrones. He's the villain, but Joffrey transcended being a villain into an entire different tier. Please remove this human from my screen immediately. We hate him. Incredible performance. I think he was so good. We haven't seen him anywhere else, right? I can't think of a movie where I've seen this actor other than Game of Thrones. I was not even satisfied with his death scene. I wanted Peter Dinklage to speed bag his balls while he was choking. The most annoying guy.
Sounds very
ever,
sexual.
Oh, and by the way, the actor's name is Jack Gleason. He was so good at playing annoying. Nobody has cast him in anything since. Joffrey Baratheon is annoying in a way that's elite. That's a craft. That's precision. I mean, great job, man. Just he's not working anywhere.
I mean, like after you make that many millions, he's probably living on a beach somewhere, living the dream.
I had Janice Soprano. She acted like the evolved Soprano, right? Everybody else was wrong, even though she was the biggest miss on the show. Her dating history was terrible. She killed Ralph Cifaretto. She killed Richie Aprile. Bobby Bacala, the nicest guy in the crew, got the worst punishment because he had to marry her. So Janice Soprano is one. And then for my last one, this might be controversial. Laura Winslow, Family Matters. Look, Laura Winslow wasn't annoying because she hated Urkel. She was annoying because she hated Urkel for 9 straight seasons and still kept him answering the door, right? She kept on answering the door. I know Urkel invented the rocket ships, time machines, and he could play basketball, but the most unrealistic thing about Urkel was that he overlooked Myra for the affection of Laura, and she didn't pay any attention to him until he turned into who, Joseph?
Stefan
Urkel, right?
Urkel.
He looked exactly the same. He just had to put on a suit and remove his glasses, giving the world a better look at those Garfield-ass eyes. But, I mean, he became Stefan Urkel, and she went from – I thought that was shitty behavior from Laura Winslow.
I liked how he cloned himself accidentally, and they're like, "Oh, what do we do?" And they just make one Stefan.
Also, shout outs to Caillou, who is a terrible character too.
Oh, horrible. Let's just not even mention that right now.
We're going to go on to our selections for most annoying TV show character.
We didn't pick
an order, but we're going to go with Joseph first.
All right. Okay. So
Don't do it, Joseph.
No. This is cool. So like this goes back into like kind of what I thought earlier, where this guy is the main character. And I know obviously, okay, my selection is Kenny Powers. So if you know anything about this show,
yeah, I agree.
You know anything about this show, obviously Danny McBride stars, writes. I mean, he creates the character. So he's writing, it's written specifically by him to be this way. And it's not very far off from, as we've mentioned before, Danny McBride plays the same character in every fucking film. Basically, him playing himself in This Is the End is basically the same character as Kenny Powers. He's the annoying
and assistant principals,
obnoxious, self-indulging character. And you know what? I don't think any of it. Of course, none of us know Danny McBride.
You don't know my life.
I don't think he's this way. I just don't know why he chooses to make his characters all this way. But anyway, so my selection is Kenny Powers from the show Eastbound and Down. I took a chance on this. I just recently watched it based on numerous outtake reels that I see on Instagram, mainly the ones that involved Craig Robinson. Sorry, it took me a while. The ones that involved the scene. So there's that scene where there's like they just couldn't keep it together. There was a scene that he was shooting with Craig Robinson and Will Ferrell. So that's one of the biggest bloopers that you see when you're constantly seeing. There's the other ones with the Fiexins, So it was these two bloopers, things, and the one with Michael Pena. How long you been there? But so I took a chance on the show, right? And I started watching the show. Entertaining, funny. first 3 episodes, but I think what is it like? I think it's like 5 episodes per season or something like that.
It's like 8,
something like that. It's a short.
3 too many.
Yeah, right. But as the episodes went on and the seasons go on, it's just the same thing. It's wash, rinse, repeat. And I know this is like sounds like me talking about the show more than the character, but I can't get over like I said, is zero self-awareness of a character. He's fucking annoying. He's always just doing the same shit. There's no growth as a character. Lifestyle that he lives, the character that, you know, is self-destructive, substance abuse, things like that. He's very much this character. And I said, what was it? What did I say in the beginning? Arrogance is something that kind of turns me away from a character. This is basically him every episode, every season. He has these delusions of grandeur. He's this superstar athlete when he's clearly not. And look, I'm not saying I'm, you know,
but that's the joke.
But
it's a bad fucking joke. It's a bad fucking joke.
Then you have to have a certain you have to have a certain style of humor to want to enjoy this show over and over again, because it's the same fucking thing and it just gets so annoying. Every episode is him blaming somebody else for his problems. I mean, let's be real, like, he doesn't look like an athlete. Okay, he has a weird throwing motion. Have you ever actually watched an episode where he's like throwing? Like, what the fuck is that? Like, anyway, he's supposed to be a pitcher. He's obviously well past his prime as a character, but he's, like I said, he still thinks he's this shit. To be honest with you, the reason I continued watching the show is for
Steve Little?
Steve. Yeah.
Stevie
Janikowski.
Yeah, Janowski.
Stevie Janowski. Okay. So the only reason I continued to watch this show is because I found Stevie Janowski so fucking funny. Like, he's from the very beginning. Good morning, Kenny. Like, I said, like, there's that first, like, one of the first episodes, Kenny's doing cocaine in his car at the parking lot, and Stevie's looking at him just like, good morning, Kenny. Like, anyway, that I think everybody can agree, like, the reason that show works is because Stevie is the funny character. Stevie is the one that you're watching, like, him doing, like, the shit that he gets into in the name of being a friend for a terrible person, Kenny Powers, wanting his acceptance, his approval, his, you know, whatever. But he's funny. So the reason I watched the show is because I wanted to see more Stevie. You know, he's the funny guy. He's the one that's brought me back to watching episodes. But yeah, dude, I just it doesn't change. It's just, you have
just got another cramp, folks.
You have to be, I don't know, like I know you said, Randy, and I know you're gonna say that. I know you're gonna wrap this up.
No,
I know part of your argument is gonna be, well, that's how he's written. Like, Danny McBride wrote him to be that way. Like, that's the point. The point of the show is he's this obnoxious, like, but it just gets old. Like, that's the thing. Like, it's I mean, this show could have been like 2 seasons. That's it. And it could have been like a quick little mini series of this character. Maybe he finally has some growth. Maybe it ends good, but it was just the same shit over and over again. And it got really annoying. And like I said, I watched it to say I watched it, and it helped me to select this character for this episode. But yeah, that's my selection.
Yeah,
guys,
one of the things I think you're really pinpointing is believability and the fact that he's supposed to be a professional athlete, but he looks the way he looks. But we've seen baseball play. We've seen CC Sabathia, Benji Molina, Dave Ortiz.
CC.
You know,
CC can throw a ball.
Prince Fielder. There's a lot of fat baseball players.
I didn't mention anything about fat. All right.
So that argument's out the window, you know. And I'm not talking about the drive-through window. I'm talking about it's out the window. So okay. So one thing I will agree on. I got tired of the show after the first season. I had to look it up. I had no idea the show ran for 4 seasons, because after the first season was brilliant. I mean, they had that whole, one of my favorite episodes in the car lot where Craig Robinson's pitching to him. And I mean, that episode is brilliant, but Kenny Powers, I can feel it in my plums. Okay. Kenny Powers was kind of like CJ Stroud, Bob. Incredible rookie season, electric. Ooh. Had the league buzzing, but everybody's like, we might be witnessing the next great thing. One good season, and that's all they gave us. CJ Stroud and
I don't even know if they gave East Mondoggos one good season. I would say one annoying fucking character. But all right, keep going.
But the next few seasons, you're watching Eastbound and Down. He goes to Mexico. He goes to a minor league team, whatever, and it starts to feel different. It feels very different than the confines that we grew accustomed to, and we were familiar with that first season. Kenny Powers had the same arc, and you're right, Joseph. Season 1 of Eastbound and Down, like I said, hilarious, but the character, the quotes, the energy, the ego, it was lightning in a bottle. I love that season, but after that, it started to feel like watching someone try to recreate the same highlight over and over again. It got very monotonous. At a certain point, you realize Kenny isn't evolving. He's just running the same playbook, but just louder. And that's when the character goes from entertaining to exhausting. So yeah, I do agree with you. All this to say, I understand why Kenny Powers is on the ballot. I understand where you're coming from, Joseph. However, I will defend him not being the most annoying character. Kenny Powers has self-awareness. The problem is with most annoying characters is that they think they're the hero. Kenny Powers, knows he's a disaster. He introduces himself like a warning label. The show recognizes the effect it has on people. He's not presented as admirable. He's presented as a cautionary tale. Everyone around him reacts appropriately. The show never gaslights the audience into thinking Kenny is this emotionally healthy character. He's just a hilarious satirical character. And he's basically a parody of a hyper-confident American athlete. Sort of like, he's kind of like John Rocker. You guys remember John Rocker, right?
That's
who was less racist.
Yeah, that's right. And he's what happens when swagger survives, but accountability does not survive. And he's kind of like, I guess you could say he's kind of like the spiritual cousin of every athlete interview that starts off with, "Hey, I just got to be me." Except Kenny says the quiet part very loud. Now, here's the entertainment factor. I think Kenny creates energy. I think something is about to go down or something funny is about to be said when he's on the screen. He doesn't stall the momentum. But the real distinction is that annoying characters make you want to leave the scene. And Kenny Powers makes you want to see what terrible decision he does next. After that first season, I don't know what happened, Joseph. The magic was gone. He got annoying. It got very narrative. Kenny was supposed to be this hero, but he never evolved. I think he does a good job on The Righteous Gemstones. I don't think he plays Danny McBride the way he plays Danny McBride on every other thing. I think The Righteous Gemstone is some sort of evolution to his acting. But Eastbound and Down, love the first season, but then I have to agree with you. The show was just not very good afterwards. What do you think, Bob?
I think we talked too much about Danny fucking McBride and his annoying goddamn acting style. It's another Will Ferrell thing. You both are wrong. It's not the character. It's the fucking actor that's playing the goddamn character. If they had got a different actor with some range that didn't play himself over and over and over and over again, just like the Will Ferrell effect. Like, yeah, sure, Will Ferrell was really funny in Old School, and then it's the same fucking character over and over and regurgitated and regurgitated and regurgitated. It wasn't season 2, Rand. It was his acting career in a fucking nutshell. It's the same fucking character. Oh my god, in Righteous Gemstones, he's so much more involved. He's the same fucking dude as Danny McBride playing Danny McBride. Give me a fucking break. Both of y'all are fucking wrong. Y'all, oh my god, and his character didn't have this arc in it. No, how about just saying he was fucking annoying as an actor and he's playing himself and that's what made the fucking character annoying. Imagine if they actually had a really good actor with some fucking range playing that character. It might have gone on more than 3 fucking seasons, dude. So that's my quick take on it since we talked about him for 30 minutes. So I think we can move on now.
Did you not like Eastbound and Down either?
I'm not a fucking fan of that guy at all. Like that, his best thing was fucking Pineapple Express because he's very minimal.
Yeah.
And he doesn't act like a douchebag in it. All right. Wearing a neck brace half the time.
We'll go on. Bobby, you want to go next? Or you want me to go?
Sure, we can go next. I'll make it short and sweet, folks. Right. There's no rambling going on here. All right, I chose Pam from The Office, and it's pretty obvious why. Pam, the most negative, positive person ever in the entire show, works her way up from the receptionist to artist to a salesperson, but she's not willing to let Jim evolve into this great something, his passion, and go on to do athlete. Not to mention she fucks around with Jim when she's still dating Roy. Not to mention she confides in the fucking camera guy at the end of the last season. You're like, he's not even a fucking producer. What can he do for you, lady? He's not gonna make you famous. All right. So I wasn't a fan of her character and her negativity, especially the negativity she brought towards Jim, who from season one was completely devout and in love with her, and she kind of treats him like shit towards the end. Agree or disagree, don't give a shit. She really does. I mean, he's out there trying to make a big living for, a new living, a new life, for her and the kids, and still she's kind of shitting on him, like, no, we should stay in the office, like. Oh, because you finally moved up. Like, what's Jim really gonna do? You know what I mean? The assistant to the assistant, district manager. You know what I mean? So, I wasn't a big fan of her character towards the end of the seasons, and that clearly stated why. What do y'all think about her?
All right. So Jenna Fisher, Pam Beasley in The Office. She was a designated adult in a daycare full of madness, right? She was kind of like the straight character. She was kind of like the eyes and the ears of the audience. When something went crazy, we looked at Pam's sort of like, a documentary style explanation to sort of be the voice of what was
Because she
going
was
on.
sleeping with the damn cameraman.
Yeah. And you know what? That kind of did make her boring. But Pam isn't a caricature. She is not an archetype. She's not the quirky one. She's not the crazy one. She's not the alpha boss. She's just a person. And that's dangerous in a show where people, have fake fire drills and they throw ninja stars across the desk. It's very boring and very vanilla, right? And I think one of the biggest criticisms that a lot of Office fans have is she leaves Roy for Jim, right? First of all, that storyline was practically scandal free. No cheating, no secret texts, no late night work meetings. That wasn't a scandal. Just two people.
She did. Well, they did kiss and then Roy tries to kick fucking what's his name's ass. So I mean,
they liked each other, right? They found that in front of a copy machine, I guess. But I mean, she leaves Roy for a reason. I mean, Roy spent years treating Pam like background noise, right? Like a background, just she left him for a reason, right? But sure, Pam is flawed, but that's the point. She's relatable. She's insecure. She procrastinates. She's afraid of change, which incidentally describes most people watching the show, right? So she doesn't have a gimmick. She doesn't have catchphrases. She's not a wacky personality. She's just a receptionist navigating the emotional Hunger Games of Michael Scott, Dwight Schrute, and whatever Kevin is doing, right? And she easily is the most reasonable person in the office. You need that home base of reason because everything else is high comedy. She's the straight person helping us to identify all the crazy shit that's going on around her. Yes, she had some weird shit with Timothy Olyphant where she was trying to find out why he ghosted her. To me, I thought that was her worst storyline. Like she had this weird obsession. I'm like, dude, your boyfriend's there and you're trying to figure out why this guy dumped you after 2 dates. Pam doesn't stay the same. She grows. She finds confidence. She speaks up. She takes risks. Am I the biggest Pam fan? No, I'm not. I think Jim, there are a lot of women on the show. I thought, well, that would be a nice sort of like a storyline if he stayed with this woman or if he dated that woman. But I thought Pam wasn't that bad. I thought boring is probably the word. Annoying, maybe not. What do you think, Joseph?
In a situation with The Office, like it's such an ensemble cast, and this is me personally. I know she's supposed to be like she's Jim's love interest and whatnot. But Michael is just taking Michael from season 1 to 7 is like at the forefront, and there's no stopping it. So everybody else around it is kind of like you just get your own episode, here and there. I do agree with at the end, towards the end, like yes, because you see this eventually they get together, and the character of Jim is always like encouraging her to do whatever it is that you want to go to, graphic school, go for it. This, that, go for it. And yes, Bob was 100%. I mean, everybody agree. We're not the only ones to agree with the fact that why didn't you throw the same support behind him when he was, trying to do something better for himself and for the family? That is a big like negative as far as a character in that aspect. And she had her moments. She definitely has her moments in the show. But I still think she's mainly overshadowed a lot through because for a lot of it is Michael, Jim, Dwight, and everybody else after that. So
yeah, everybody has like a gimmick. Everybody has a comedy niche, right? And what I liked about The Office is that you watched all these shows and it's kind of the same jokes but presented differently. Like like Kevin would do something ridiculous like run a marathon in his suit. And then he would have like whatever in his desk. So I just thought the innovation of the comedy was very good, but Pam didn't get a lot of the laughs. She was kind of the levity, kind of the force that was kind of like I said, like the audience surrogate that showed us how ridiculous the world was. And I thought she did a good job doing that. But yeah, did that make her boring? Sometimes. Sometimes. Sure did. All right. Anything?
Sure did, kiddo. All right, Ren, back now on to your selection.
All right. So to wrap this up for most annoying TV show character of all time, I'm selecting Ross Geller from Friends. Look, Friends isn't a show I watch religiously, but give credit where credit's due. It's one of the most successful sitcoms of all time. Is somebody snapping something? Are you snapping a Slim Jim? Okay.
Snapping my fingers. No.
Trying to keep hurry up, get this over with. No. Okay. The show didn't exactly invent the formula, right? It assembled it like the Avengers of 90s television. It borrowed the young adults figuring out life together vibe from Cameron Crowe's singles, so much so that NBC originally wanted to pitch Crowe's idea of turning that movie into a sitcom, and we think that Friends evolved from that idea. It grabbed the 20-somethings navigating through a shared social bubble from the real world. It definitely borrowed a ton of DNA from a Fox show called Living Single, which was already doing the group of friends living in a city, trying to find love, nonsense work, et cetera, et cetera. I thought it was a good show. I wish it was bigger than what it was. Then Friends did something very, very smart. It took the formula that I mentioned and added a ridiculously charismatic, photogenic cast, gave them sharp writers, and suddenly you had lightning in a bottle. This show didn't reinvent the wheel. It just put the best looking rims imaginable on it. Also, great headlights if we're talking about cars. Anyway.
That's the lead singer for Kinda Gross.
Before we begin, I want to clarify something. I don't hate Ross Geller, right? Hatred implies emotional distance. Ross is worse than that. He's exhausting. And the reason this matters is because Friends is one of the most rewatchable sitcoms in TV history, which means every few years, millions of people rediscover the same truth in that Ross fucking sucks. The rest of the cast understands the assignment. Chandler, he knows to be sarcastic. Phoebe, she knows to be chaotic. Joey, he knows he's a dumbass, right? But Ross is arrogant, whiny, know-it-all, and has zero self-awareness. I can probably forgive that because he's had some classic comedy moments on the show, but here's the real issue. Ross is presented as the romantic lead. That's what I have the biggest problem with. The guy that corners you at a party, whines about his life, talks about his exes, and talks to you about dinosaurs is a romantic lead. That's bullshit, right? I would accept Ross as a serial dater, and every 3 or 4 episodes he gets dumped and he's a side character. I'm okay with that. But Ross lands Rachel. How did he get this grant approved? It's the 90s. You know? I mean, she's realistically dating a restaurant owner or a guy that plays in a post-grunge alternative band. She's not dating this professor of science or whatever. Didn't he have 3 divorces on the show? I don't know, but he has a whiny demeanor. Like he's intensely jealous, he's possessive, he's toxic, he's childish, and he avoided taking responsibility so many times. He's very dismissive of Rachel's career, but if he stares off into the distance in the rain wearing sweaters, listening to U2, we're supposed to feel bad for him. Rachel Green dating Ross Geller always felt like the show was running an experiment. Most of the staff writers, let's be honest, because it was the 90s network television, they were probably overwhelmingly white guys in their 30s and 40s, and they seemed to treat Ross Geller like a slightly sanitized avatar of themselves. So Ross is written as the classic, too smart for his own good, insecure, misunderstood genius. The guy who believes his emotional depth and intellectual superiority should eventually win the girl of his dreams, which is Rachel, right? And I've always had this suspicion that a lot of these writers were quietly pouring their own romantic histories into Ross, their awkward college crushes, their unspoken feelings, the girls that they were too intimidated to talk to or even say bless you to after they sneeze. So Ross becomes this sort of dominant nerd romantic fantasy. The guy who waits long enough feels deeply enough, and eventually the cool, beautiful woman realizes he was the right choice all along, and I felt that was bullshit. The funny thing is, when you combine that level of projection with a truly great performance from David Schwimmer, and I think he's a great actor, something interesting happens, and I'm getting close to wrapping up. The character works dramatically. but it also accidentally reveals something else, how intense, insecure, and frankly kind of exhausting that worldview can be. And I thought Ross was just boring after a while, but he's fascinating in that he's got the storyline with Rachel. That's what makes him fascinating, because you're not just watching a character, you're watching the emotional diary of a 90s sitcom writer's room performed brilliantly. And lastly, occasionally, unintentionally, you're also watching how annoying that diary can be. So, not a big fan. And also, I do want to say one point. Lisa Kudrow was on the Jimmy Kimmel show about 2 weeks ago, and she was doing a rewatch on Friends, and she was doing it out of tribute to Matthew Perry. And she said she found Ross annoying too. She was like, "Why did this guy get the girl? And why is this guy? He's just so annoying." So that puts a stamp of approval on it. What do you guys think?
It just goes to show you can't trust any person that says they're a doctor when they don't work in an actual hospital of their own. They're full of shit. They're all full of shit.
Present company included.
That's what Randy's getting. That's why he's so mad, because he was a doctor of paleontology and he got Rachel. And Randy was like, I like dinosaurs as well. No, I think that he's definitely annoying. He's definitely annoying, but I think they used him as comic relief, just like they did with Joey. You know what I mean? He is not a bad looking dude, he's a good looking dude, but I could see where he could be the annoying character, which is nuts, because I thought Lisa Kudrow was the annoying character on that show. If I'm being 100% honest, like I could, like everybody was so real, and yeah, they might be over the top, little like stupid, you know what I mean, or dramatic, but she was like played down dumb, and I don't understand that. Like I never understood why they're like, I don't get this. Like it doesn't work for me for whatever reason. So yeah, so that'd be my only disagreement here in that show. I thought Lisa Kudrow, to be honest with you, was very like off-putting. If her character, and also Janice was probably the most annoying. Let's just fucking throw that out there. Sure. Oh my god, yeah, that was annoying as fuck every time she did that. But yeah, I get it, dude. I can agree with you. Like pretty much that, you know, Ross was kind of, he's a little too much at certain times. But Lisa Kudrow's character, I thought, was just like, why are they making her so weird? And like everything about her life was so weird. And then making her a twin, and then I don't know. It just didn't like, there was a lot of like sex appeal there. I think they could have worked with, because she was a beautiful woman. She is a beautiful woman. She's a great actress. But I don't know why they went in that direction. I know they needed some kind of like,
put it with Joey, right? Like that.
Yeah. Because they're both like different. But I just didn't understand that. Like, do you all? I don't know. What do you think about Lisa Kudrow's character?
No, I got you on that. That's actually, I'm glad you bring that up, because yeah, there's moments where I don't know if she's like this hippie. I mean, yeah. I'm trying to not go into this stereotype, but you know, she is blonde. The character's blonde. Are they trying to say she's some like dumb hippie blonde? Like, was that the purpose? Because
I don't think dumb so much as eccentric, and you know, just sort of.
I don't know about eccentric, because she was very. I don't know, dude. Eccentric. She was very awkward and very like, I don't know, like her character was. It wasn't even interesting. It was more like, that's stupid. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's certain things you're like, that's stupid. Like, not annoying, just kind of stupid. Like, that's a stupid way to create her character arc. I don't know.
You definitely see that when you go back and look at these moments. But just to add and finish this up on Ross, yeah, dude, I was in and out with this show. I can't say that I've, remember every episode or things like that. But the ones, I know I see a lot of memorable episodes. And the character of Ross to me is so exhausting. Like I wonder how these people are friends with him. This like
his sister.
He's always got to be right. He's always right. Like he's right.
What if he was hung?
I mean, he's always, like he knows more than everything. Like he's than everybody. He's always, had like his opinion is better than, or plan or whatever. And I know this is, I guess, a testament to the acting of David Schwimmer, but the emotional reactions to everything in his life are a little over the top. And I know some of them are comedy, like when he gets the tan, the outbursts of him, like,
the leather pants, the teeth,
the couch,
pivot. Like we're on a break. Like those, he's got some lines, exactly, man. Memorable lines.
I understand it, but just. Yeah, like and then you go back and like what you said, man, like he's always like borderline, you're gonna love me, and that's the way it is with Rachel. Like, I mean, is this a weird, creepy vibe to this? Like, I mean, I know, I don't know.
He did dress up so he could take her to prom when her prom date didn't show up. You know what I mean? He's got a heart of gold, Joseph.
Okay, I got you on that part. But yeah, I mean, it's just I just think yeah, the emotional, like a lot of the things that I hated with the character when I would watch the show, or that I would get mainly annoying, were his emotional delivery of the lines. Everything seemed to be, or his voice was always, he's always raising his voice. It's just, yeah, that shit got annoying. So I agree with the fact that, like, I mean, I don't know about worst ever in history, but definitely up there, definitely up top. I mean, and it's just a character in an ensemble cast, and this one particularly happens to get annoying at times. I understand he has his funny moments, no doubt. I've laughed at, like you said, like you just mentioned, some of the most famous, hilarious lines that he said, but everything in between that, like, just always has like is like kind of a neurotic too.
Yeah, very whiny and entitled.
Rachel's, you know,
That sounded like Ozzy Osbourne, Joseph.
So, you know, so yeah, I got you on that, dude. Like, yeah, definitely a top choice. Very annoying at times and whatnot. But hey, kudos to Bob with the making you think about the, what is her name, Phoebe Buffay.
Yeah, Phoebe Buffay character. Yeah, I agree.
And you know what? If you go back and look at all these, like what was it like Rachel's character was self-absorbed. Like, I mean,
what are you looking at, Joe? So I didn't even hear her say a word. I never heard her say a word.
Everybody in their 20s was like that in the 90s. So, I mean, I think it was accurate. These were people trying to discover who they were.
Yeah. Like, and Monica's character was crazy, and Matthew Perry's character was like trying to like deal with the crazy because he was in love with her. It was a very good dynamic. I'm not gonna one of the greatest TV shows of all time. And again, folks, we're like nitpicking and trying to like just throw shit out there. You know what I mean? Yeah. So if you're angry, make sure you email Randall at RAN. No, I'm just kidding.
Final questions. If Janice Soprano was your wife, how would you sleep at night knowing you pissed her off before bed?
I can't hear that without hearing the Janice from the Friends. You just ruined my night with that.
Oh, no, real question. Okay, after having this conversation, does it help to have a character to hate on a show?
Well, I mean, for as far as like conversations concerned, especially with social media, like, if you want people, if you have a character everybody hates, is going to become probably a meme, and people are going to fucking comment and post and comment, and then it in itself creates popularity for the show. So I would say that was a really good thing. Yeah. Back then, maybe not, but also at the same time, they're trying to reach a lot of different dynamics. You know what I mean? A lot of different audience members, personalities, shit like that. So you never know who can relate to whom.
What do you think, Joseph? No?
Quiet. What was the question?
Joseph just took a bite of his cereal. Huh?
Does it help to have a character to hate on the show? Do you like hate watch?
Because if I like this, no, I don't hate watch. I mean, I kind of did that for this because, you know, around the time I started to watch the show is when we came up with the idea for this topic, and I was already kind of feeling this way about the character. So I was like, okay, I've got to finish watching this show so I can, you know, be justified, or, you know, make sure I know what I'm, you know, why I feel this way.
Justified's a great show, Joseph.
It is, but. No, if I really want to watch a show, if I like a show, I hate a character, I'm usually skipping or I'm muting. There's like something similar to that. Like, and I know we don't need to talk about this. There's a character on the show 911 that I'm watching right now. One of the characters is like just always something going on with him, and it's really getting fucking annoying. So I'm really starting to hate this one. His name is Buck on the show. He's a firefighter.
He came to. That's still
but I'm Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Yeah, she's on that show now. She didn't start out originally, but she's in it.
Yeah, all right. Yeah.
And now Joseph's a fan.
The character, I was a fan of it before. The character is actually
how dare you say
her brother in the show. But yeah, he's just, there's always something fucking going on with him. Like, he's just like, I'm tired of it. Like, anyway, it's a situation like that, and that's because I like this show, but I'm starting to get annoyed by this fucking character. Anyway,
but that'll keep you watching, though, right?
Oh, Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Jennifer Love Hewitt. Keep watching. I love Reno 911 too, Joseph. I think it's hilarious. I know you're not talking about that, but that's the show you should be talking about.
That's a great show.
Does it help to have a character to hate on a show? I think a show without someone to hate is like a sporting event with no rivalries. I think you need that friction. I think that character that you hate creates that emotional energy. Sometimes you roll your eyes, you yell at the TV, you argue with friends. I think that's engagement. So yeah, I don't mind hating a character and watching a show. If the writing's good and there's one annoying character, I don't know. I think it adds to a dynamic. I think that's why a lot of people watch these reality shows because they hate these people and they'll watch just to see what happens next. So I don't know. It's kind of fun, right? Any last words, guys, on annoying characters on television?
No, man, I think we definitely talked about a lot of different characters, especially a lot of popular characters. So I'm sure we're gonna get a lot of shit from it from our fans or our listeners or whomever. Hopefully we made you shake your head and like raise your fist, like shake your fist, like fucking assholes. Good. Keep listening, just like the annoying characters that we kept watching because, it made it interesting. I think that's what kind of we're going for. But yeah, I thought this is a really good topic.
I think, yeah, you got to tread lightly with, because I know it's always the writing, right? It's always the writing, like we said. It's never, well, in some cases, Bob is adamant about dynamic writing, but for most, I'd say 90%, 95% of the time, the character is being written to be this way, and I think you got to choose. I mean, it's just me personally. If you're gonna put together a show, make sure. But then, like, on a lot of this stuff, like people lose their mind over the show Yellowstone. I've never seen it, but but on a lot of lists, I saw that character Beth. And people fucking love her. So it's like, but then people say she comes out on a list saying she's fucking annoying. So I don't know. You just got for me, yeah. You got to be. It's definitely subjective, but people are gonna watch regardless. But for me personally, no, I'm not. Like I'm gonna turn away if like on a character. Especially if it's the main character.
Around.
Have you guys watched the paper, The Office spinoff? I watched 4 episodes. I couldn't get into it. I thought
I didn't want it. Like I know I don't want it. Like it's not.
I don't want it.
No, I'm not interested. And I know the character Oscar comes out.
Yeah,
but no. I mean, I'd rather see the same characters if it's going to be, even if it's just one season revival, just to see where everybody's at right now. Yeah. I want to see the original characters.
Before we leave, we lost an American icon a couple of weeks ago, and it's our first episode since this has happened. But Chuck Norris, I know we're going to talk a little bit more about him because of next week's topic. But any like memories or anything about Chuck Norris that you guys want to share before we wrap up?
The over the top episodes and scenes from Walker Texas Ranger were always like live with me, rent free in my head. Fucking funny. And I was a big fan growing up of Sidekicks, the one he did with.
Yeah, I watched that movie so many times.
Yeah. What's the name of the actor he did it with? The guy from fucking Sequest, the one that passed away when he was young too.
Jonathan Brandis.
Oh, Brandis.
Jonathan Brandis. Yeah, I thought that movie was really good. Like growing up, that was my kind of Karate Kid because when I was a kid when it happened. Kind of same storyline, kind of same stuff. But yeah, I thought Chuck Norris always been like a living legend as far as martial arts and everything like that. It was really sad. He lived a great life, lived a long time, a lot of years to be, so it was very sad, but he lived a great life, very popular dude, very cool martial artist.
Yeah, I enjoyed a lot of like the same things that Bob said. Of course, I watched Sidekicks so many times. I actually recently watched, not too long ago, obviously.
He tried a sidekick, but he pulled his hamstring.
I loved that it was filmed in Texas and in Houston. It's Walker Texas Ranger. I know he wasn't born in Texas, but he lived most of his life afterwards. So you're an honorary Texan, and just with a lot of the obviously the wonderful things that he did with youth camps and things like that, and teaching martial arts to young kids and adults, I mean, I'd never, as far as I know, saw anything where he was nothing but positive in everything that he was doing. Like whether he was giving an interview or something, he just I mean,
yeah,
he just seemed like he was just generally a nice guy to everybody. That's cool. I mean, that's obviously really awesome, and especially for somebody that. And I mean, we know a ton of people that were like, oh, like our uncles, and I grew up watching all of his movies. All of his. Of course, he did. He did a lot of action movies, and that. So there's that whole community that like just grew up watching him. Like, oh, he was my, he was our action hero.
He was my sensei.
Gibson. He was, this and that, or like, whatever. So yeah, cheers to him. He seems like he seemed like he lived a very happy life, and our condolences to his family.
A couple of quick things about Chuck Norris. He made his debut in a movie in 1968 called The Wrecking Crew, and the main actor in that movie was Dean Martin. And Chuck Norris had never done a movie before. He was discovered because he did martial arts. And he tells a story where he tells Dean Martin, he's like, I'm going to kick you, but I need you to duck, okay? Because that was part of the script. So he's like, make sure you duck, make sure you. And Dean Martin's like, oh yeah, I got it. And so when he went to kick Dean Martin, he didn't duck low enough, and he kicked him in the shoulder. And like he said, Dean Martin like flew across the room, and he was like, "Oh shit, I'm gonna get fired." I just kicked the star, but it worked itself out. And I will say this: in the '80s, VHS, my dad would always rent like the Chuck Norris movies, The Missing in Action, Hero and the Terror, Lone Wolf McQuade, all these movies. And I remember my dad would sit in his recliner and I would be sitting in front of him on the floor in the carpet. We'd watch it. And every time Chuck Norris would do something, he would tap me on the shoulder and point to the TV like, look at this guy. Hey.
That's awesome. Like, that's fucking awesome.
You'd be like, yeah, don't fuck with him. Like he would do it for every scene. I'm like, okay, it's not a real person, but
check Carlos with the kicks, baby.
It was just kind of one of those cool memories that, you know, your dad or your uncles or whoever like, and you know, yeah, we know Chuck Norris couldn't act his way out of a paper bag, but he didn't have to. He was just endearing for who he was, and I think he had a good life, good career, and you know, condolences, right? And that's our show, everyone. Listeners, we'd love to hear from you. Most importantly, let us know what you think about the show. You may reach us at formidableopponents@gmail.com. You can follow us on all forms of social media. Just search for Formidable Opponents. We want to thank Creative Little Pill for her great artwork. Please follow her on Instagram at Creative Little Pill. Please subscribe, rate, and review us on any podcast platform you're listening to us on. And join us next episode. We'll be back with Best Movie Mentor. So for Bob and Joseph, this is Randall. We'll see you, if I get my voice back, next time.
Sweep the leg. Sweep the leg. You got a problem with it?